The old lighthouse keeper, Elias Thorne, had always been a solitary figure. His weathered face, etched with the lines of countless storms and sun-drenched days, held a quiet intensity, a deep-seated knowledge of the sea's capricious nature. He lived alone on the jagged, wind-swept Isle of Harrow's Point, a place where the ocean's fury was a constant companion, and the cries of gulls mingled with the ceaseless roar of the waves. His lighthouse, a towering sentinel against the encroaching darkness, was his sanctuary, his purpose, his silent witness to the endless drama of the sea. One autumn, a strange fog rolled in, a dense, impenetrable shroud that swallowed the coastline whole. It was unlike any fog Elias had ever seen, thick and oily, clinging to the air like a suffocating blanket. The sea, usually a symphony of crashing waves and surging tides, fell eerily silent, as if the very ocean held its breath. The fog seemed to absorb all sound, all light, leaving only a suffocating, disorienting void. Elias, accustomed to the rhythms of the sea, felt a growing unease. The silence was unnatural, the fog oppressive. He climbed to the top of the lighthouse, his boots echoing on the spiral staircase, and activated the powerful beam, its light cutting through the fog like a desperate plea. But the light seemed to vanish, swallowed by the dense, swirling mist, leaving only a faint, diffused glow. Days turned into nights, and the fog persisted, an unrelenting presence that isolated Harrow's Point from the mainland. Elias, cut off from all contact, felt a growing sense of isolation, a gnawing fear that crept into his bones. He rationed his supplies, his movements becoming more deliberate, more cautious. He felt as if he were being watched, observed by unseen eyes lurking within the fog. One evening, as he patrolled the base of the lighthouse, he noticed something strange washed up on the rocks. It was a small, wooden grate, its surface weathered and barnacle-encrusted. He pried it open, his hands trembling slightly, and found a collection of strange objects, a tarnished silver locket, a worn leather journal, and a small, intricately carved wooden box. The locket held a faded photograph of a young woman with hauntingly beautiful eyes. The journal, written in a spidery, illegible script, spoke of a voyage, a storm, and a strange, unsettling presence that lurked beneath the waves. The wooden box, when opened, revealed a collection of smooth, black stones, each etched with strange symbols. Elias, intrigued and disturbed by the objects, began to feel a growing sense of dread. The journal spoke of a ship, the Seraphina, lost at sea during a violent storm, its crew consumed by a monstrous entity that emerged from the depths. The symbols on the stones, he discovered in an old maritime encyclopedia, were ancient glyphs associated with sea deities and forgotten rituals. He started to see things in the fog, fleeting glimpses of shapes and shadows, whispers carried on the wind, a sense of something vast and ancient stirring beneath the surface. He'd catch the glint of something reflective in the fog, a movement just at the edge of his vision. He'd hear what sounded like a low, resonating hum, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the sea. One night, as the wind howled and the waves crashed against the rocks, Elias heard a sound unlike any he had ever heard before. It was a deep, guttural growl, a sound that seemed to emanate from the ocean itself, a sound that resonated deep within his bones. The lighthouse shuddered, the windows rattling in their frames. He rushed to the top of the tower, his heart pounding in his chest. Through the swirling fog, he saw it. A colossal shape, a monstrous form emerging from the depths, its surface glistening with an oily sheen, its eyes glowing with an eerie, phosphorescent light. It was a creature of the deep, a being of unimaginable size and power, its presence radiating an aura of ancient malevolence. The creature's growl intensified, a sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of the lighthouse. The waves surged, crashing against the rocks with renewed fury. Elias, his mind reeling, felt a sense of primal fear, a fear that transcended reason, a fear that spoke of ancient terrors and forgotten nightmares. The creature reached out, its massive tentacles extending towards the lighthouse, its touch sending tremors through the stone structure. Elias, trapped in the tower, felt a sense of impending doom. He knew that he was witnessing something beyond human comprehension, something that had slumbered for centuries, something that had been awakened by the fog, by the silence, by the objects in the crate. He watched, paralyzed by fear, as the creature's tentacles wrapped around the lighthouse, its grip tightening, its power overwhelming. The lighthouse swayed, its foundation groaning under the immense pressure. Elias, his body trembling, felt the tower begin to crumble, the stone walls cracking, the glass shattering. The creature's growl echoed through the fog, a sound of triumph, a sound of ancient hunger. The lighthouse, once a beacon of hope, was now a crumbling ruin, a testament to the creature's power. Elias, lost in the chaos, felt the cold, oily touch of the creature's tentacles, a touch that sent a shiver down his spine, a touch that spoke of oblivion. The fog, still thick and impenetrable, swallowed the ruins of the lighthouse, concealing the creature's presence, shrouding the island in an eerie silence. The sea, once again, fell still, as if the creature had returned to its slumber, its hunger sated, its ancient power unchallenged. Days turned into weeks, and the fog persisted, an unrelenting presence that isolated Harrow's Point from the world. The mainlanders, fearing the strange fog and the eerie silence, dared not venture near the island. They spoke of the lighthouse keeper, Elias Thorne, lost at sea, consumed by the storm. But some whispered of a different fate, of a creature that lurked beneath the waves, a being of ancient power that had claimed the lighthouse and its keeper. They spoke of the strange objects washed up on the rocks, of the journal's warnings, of the symbols on the stones. They spoke of a presence that lingered in the fog, a sense of unseen eyes watching, waiting. And sometimes, on moonless nights, when the sea was still and the fog was thick, they would hear a faint, guttural growl, a sound that echoed from the depths, a sound that spoke of ancient terrors and forgotten nightmares, a sound that reminded them of the creature that slumbered beneath the waves, waiting to rise again. And the fog, forever, held a secret,